Hello and welcome to Onesies, the podcast of one season wonders and blunders. My name's Andrew,
My name's Emily.
and we are talking about the penultimate hour of Automan, episode 12, Death by Design, which is possibly a reference to it taking place in and around a fashion studio of sorts. We don't see much of what they make besides skimpy bikinis, but they're apparently a very popular thing. But also, we'll talk about it later, Wally designs the way they're going to catch the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are your three things?
My three things are cock block, Jack off the handle Curtis, and heel turn is my third one.
Okay. I will do, let's see. Okay. Mad Dog Man. I don't know. You took the good ones. I'm just gonna say it because yours covers so much. Oh, okay. I will do Godfather guy and dressing.
Okay.
All
right. So we start with Jack on a stakeout, which I was convinced straight away he was going to get kidnapped again. But luckily, he didn't. He and his friend, whose name escapes me now.
Nate Hester.
That's right.
They've known each other since the academy.
Are staking out, following some guy from one building to another. I think it's the hitman, right? It's the guy who turns out to be the hitman. And Hester goes into the building, follows him up the stairs, but the guy kills somebody, the head of a design company, before Hester can get there. And on the way out, escaping, the hitman hits Hester, who falls down the stairs, a really crummy stunt. And then we cut to Jack, and you hear in his radio, "Jack, I'm hit." I was like, that was odd because he looked like he fell dead on the stairs. How could he vocalize that so clearly?
And then when Jack gets there, he is gone.
He's gone.
So, given that we've seen some sort of changes in the Automan production, Wally's new apartment, new shots of the police station, things like that, I sort of got it in my head that we were hitting some low budget episodes. So the first thing I noticed was it appears this office park, they filmed it at your old storage shed. I was like, this looks like Emily's old storage shed where we had to go up those elevators.
Yeah. It does look really, really bad.
So, including the office. So, including this guy's office. So, but then we cut to Jack and the captain talking about his dead friend, and the captain saying something like, "You can't work on this case," and Jack saying, "I'm obviously working on this case."
And Jack lost his shirt button budget because he's got 2 buttons unbuttoned on the shirt, I think, the whole episode. That's how you know he means business, because he took his tie off.
I mean, he's also going to see some bikini girls, so they want to see the V. The Vavoom. But we also introduce a reporter character.
Yes, this sleazy crime reporter trope walks in. And who was the actor in the Automaniacs episode who you said was in Night Court? The kind of second hand to the sheriff? He was a sleazy crime reporter on Night Court. That's what he played.
Okay.
So I have
Terry Kaiser.
Yeah. So I have no love for this character. The one on Night Court was at least funny. This one's just creepy and ugh. But yeah, who was that guy? I didn't catch his name because I was too busy looking at the babes. Tom Scholes. Oh God, please stop. Pop-ups.
David Spielberg.
Yeah.
Who also appeared in such films as Christine.
Yeah,
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
He looked familiar.
Days of Our Lives.
West Wing.
West Wing as congressman. Baywatch, a
Yeah.
regular on Baywatch for 7 years, as well as a regular judge on Law and Order.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll get back to him at the end, but for some reason they're introducing a crime reporter who's hanging around the office, which will actually figure into the plot.
Yes,
really
Chekhov's crime reporter here.
But there's some line, I think the captain makes it about, oh no, yeah, the captain complains the news reporter hates sadistic, incompetent cops.
So they hate him because
right.
he hates, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know whose side to be on now.
The captain, yes.
I don't know whose side to be on now.
Drunk, and he's just your biographer. But the crime reporter approaches Roxanne and is creepy with her, trying to get her to talk about Jack, but no. So then we cut to, yes, we do. We cut, here we go. It's my first item. We cut to Wally in the office.
Yes.
And so he calls Automan up on the A drive. I saw that Automan runs off of a floppy disk, which is interesting. And Automan's like, oh, thanks for calling me, Wally. Is this about Jack's friend who was murdered? And I was like, how does Automan know it was Jack's friend?
That's true. That might not have been in the computer programming, right?
That's weird. It's weird that they've got his friend graph. But then Roxanne comes in and Cursor goes to bother Roxanne. And she says, get away from me, you 50-watt Romeo.
Yeah.
Which I liked and I thought was going to be a highlight of the episode. And it's good, but it's not the highlight.
It is pretty good. It is pretty good. I'm growing to like Roxanne, which is unfortunate because there's only one episode left.
There's only one episode left. And she's
written so poorly. They didn't use her at all, except for these little quips here and there. And as a possible love interest for Wally, I'm really starting to like her. I'm really disappointed that it took this long.
Okay, Pin, as like our Lee Pace conversation last episode, try to remind me about my Roxanne in the remake theory. Or my Roxanne in the remake idea, and we'll talk about it later. Okay, so Roxanne's like, you got to get out of here, Automan. Jack's on his way in or something. Well, Automan's like, I'm going to stay and help. So he gets on his FBI agent outfit. And then when Jack comes in, Automan's putting on his jacket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so does Jack think he and Wally were fucking? Like,
I don't know.
Why else is Automan visibly getting dressed?
I don't know. All I know is that there is a gray suit party going on in this scene where they're all wearing various shades of gray suits. And it made me a little bit happy because I thought that they all looked really good in their gray suits except for the chest, the Jack chest. I can't. The old man, like hairless. I can't. And then the fashion lady comes in wearing a gray suit too. But yeah, so they come in, they have a conversation about the case. I don't exactly know why Jack came in because they're looking for clues
to find a receipt.
Right, to find this LeBlanc character who they know is the guy who they suspect is the guy who killed him, but we know that it is the guy.
Yes. And there's a no-name bar receipt with an optical scanning code on it.
Yeah. So, I don't know what that means, but it sounds good. Sounds like Doctor Who. Good. Sounds like Doctor Who. Fake science. I'll take it.
So then we cut to... This episode doesn't have the most confusing crime, but it kills a lot of time.
Yeah.
To get through what ends up being the actual crime part of it. We cut to Godfather actor... Why did I take this? Oh, because I was looking up David Spielberg. We cut to Godfather actor Michael V. Gazzo as a mob boss. He played Frankie Pentangeli in Godfather 1 and 2. He plays an Italian-coded man named Ambrose in this, but we don't get his name during that scene. Because also in that scene, he's meeting the main villain of the episode, Simon Rafferty, played by Lance Legault, who I think looks like Robert Englund. but he's not actually the hitman.
No.
But Godfather guy's yelling at him like he's the hitman. So we're actually going to get this scene twice. We're going to get him getting yelled at about the hit, and then we're going to get him yelling at the hitman about the hit. So we've got two layers here. But this is where we establish that the mob wants its way into this fashion business, and bad guy Simon Rafferty says they will do it.
Yeah.
So then we cut to, was this the girls in bikinis having a pillow fight set to Girls Just Want to Have Fun?
They are not having a pillow fight, but they are in one of those small inflatable pools, I think, and they're splashing each other. And
as ladies do.
I was waiting for the director of the photo shoot, i.e. the fashion lady whose name escapes me. It doesn't matter because she's terrible, to be like, okay, now kiss. Now just tickle each other a little bit. I was waiting for it to turn pornographic. Honestly, it was so weird and gross. But we established that this fashion company is women's fashion, but it's like sports fashion. So it's all sports, i.e. swimsuits.
Is this when Jack comes in and he's like looking around? Yeah, he's like,
Jack comes in and a beautiful bikini lady walks past him. And I think I wrote a note. What did I wrote? Bikini ladies, focus, Jack. I wrote.
He actually gets distracted. It's pretty funny. Like he walks in, Robert Curtis or whatever his name is doing his thing. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's Robert Lansing. And he's like, oh, wait, I'm acting. What?
Gotta unbutton another shirt, another button here.
Hey, ladies. It was really funny because he literally gets distracted and then he kind of like shakes himself out of it. It was really funny.
So he's gonna interview the surviving partner. So the guy who gets killed at the beginning is some old white dude, like 60s.
Yeah.
His partner is like some 27-year-old lady who apparently does all the work.
Yeah. She's running the photo shoot. You see her later designing swimwear. She's doing it all. I don't know.
She talks about how the guy was her great friend and partner and everything, but you're just like, how did they meet? This is it's either weird or touching. Like there's no in between.
Yeah.
Some highlights of this scene are Jack identifying himself as an LA municipal police officer.
Which is weird.
Which is the LAPD was like, no, Automan, don't say it, Automan. We haven't stopped getting calls about how this is a true story. So here we find out that they were having money problems a few years ago. The partner borrowed mob money. They paid it back with interest, but then the mob wants a seat on the board, basically.
Yeah.
And so Jack offers her police protection. She turns it down, to which my note is, don't be turning down the police protection on Automan. We've done this before.
Yeah.
To which she says, I grew up in the garment business. I'm never going to let these guys push me around.
Yeah. Her grandfather had been killed by a mobster for a similar circumstance. Yeah.
Grandpa made my dad promise not to sell out to the mob.
On his deathbed. On his deathbed after he got shot by a mobster or whatever.
So then this is where we then get the scene of not Robert Englund berating the hitman for killing the cop. The hitman is played by Luke Askew.
Great name.
Not a great actor.
Not a great actor.
I sort of pictured this guy as having a mustache.
He didn't.
But like in other things, though. He was in
gotcha.
Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah.
He was in
quite
Easy
a bit.
Rider. He was in a lot of stuff. Okay. So, there's more bickering about this. Talking about Ambrose, the mobster. Then we introduce another guy who's, I don't even remember if he gets a name, but he's the guy. He's the guy they're going to install at the company.
Right.
And he keeps coming back too.
And he just looked like in this scene, he just kind of looks like a general thug. Like, go get the check, boy. Sorry.
It's completely unclear.
It's weird. It's very weird. But yeah, he's going to be the guy who gets installed. And the first time I watched it, I didn't even think it was the same guy because they didn't look the same. They didn't act the same. Again, I thought he was a whatever. It doesn't matter. He's irrelevant almost.
Okay. So now we are going to get to the scene that you texted me about.
What?
You
The
didn't
ew, ew,
spoil
ew,
it.
ew, 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 ew? Is that the one?
So
Before the ew, ew, ew,
before the you,
we cut to Wally's apartment, and Automan is engrossed in a movie. Oh my god. I knew exactly where it was going as soon as it started, and it was the worst thing they could have given Chuck Wagner to do. It is so stupid and so tropey.
it is. He has become obsessed with the Nasty Eddie franchise, which is not a British or Australian softcore porn comedy series from the 70s, though there are 4 examples from each country that has a similar title. It is a Dirty Harry knockoff.
Can I tell you, the porn thing made me laugh because I texted my husband and I was like, oh, Automan's watching some movie that's a Dirty Harry knockoff. It's Naughty Eddie or something. And so Naughty Eddie in my mind is definitely a porn parody of Dirty Harry.
So, yeah. So Automan's engrossed in the Nasty Eddie movie, and they're doing a go ahead and make my day number, but not too close. Somebody's doing a Clint Eastwood impression, but they never go too close. They never say the words Clint Eastwood because they were like, Clint Eastwood is going to fucking sue us.
And they don't say go ahead, make my day, but they do have, oh god, never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Oh.
But then we cut to the living room. Wally and Roxanne on the couch, talking about how she's grown so fond of Wally.
Yeah, but not fond enough that you want our friendship to be ruined by romance, right, Roxanne?
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, maybe our friendship is in the way of the romance. And what is playing in the background?
I don't even know.
Human Nature by Mr. Michael Jackson, which is one of the 5 songs that I feel bad that I'm like,
that you like. Yeah,
I really like that song. And I'm like, all right, Wally, getting laid to Human Nature, 1984, like a stud.
Oh, and there's actually a kissing scene. They start. They get some lip locking. And I did have to, like, I felt like a child. Like, I did go ew ew ew, like, out loud. I've only ever had that type of reaction to a number of things, and usually it's to, like, pain. But I was actually revolted.
Who you think Lucille Ball was on the set going, make it look like you like kissing him?
She was the intimacy coordinator, and she actually wanted Heather McNair to fuck him on camera.
All my friends tell me my Desi Jr. is not getting laid on this show. Why not?
Oh, God. Anyway, it's really, it is kind of sweet once you can get over the fact that Wally's a weenie. And I do have a soft spot for weenies, but not that soft of a spot.
Roxanne can do so much better.
I know. That's okay. That's okay.
What heights she's fallen from since she got, gooey-eyed over Chuck Wagner in the first episode. So then Cursor interrupts them. And she makes a comment about Cursor being the chaperone, which I thought was funny.
Yes, I thought that was funny too.
But then Automan comes in to talk to them about this Nasty Eddie movie he's just seen. And so Roxanne's like, okay, Automan, you can assimilate facts because you're a walking computer hologram machine. He's like, yes, I am. And then she's like, well, why can't you take a hint? And Automan does a full, like, bringing his finger up to his face, going, why can't I take a hint?
That was funny too. Very in a sitcom way. Like,
if this had been the second episode of the series,
yeah,
and then this is where we establish things that built from here, because I don't know how much we're going to talk about it, but Chuck poor Chuck Wagner has gone from being impressive in this show to quite bad.
Like this episode, like bam,
I think it
crashing
started
down.
last episode.
Really? I didn't.
I thought it started before. I think there was another episode. It's when they make him too juvenile.
Yeah.
It's just like he can't do it.
Yeah.
Because, Chuck Wagner, in addition to being a slab of man meat, also has a very like classic, like you can see Chuck Wagner doing, oh God, I'm sure Chuck Wagner wanted to do Hamlet while
he has done Shakespeare.
While he was dancing at the Chippendales. His dream was to do Hamlet.
But he
has done Shakespeare, yes. So I mean,
and he's a lounge singer. He's like the official follow up to Bob Goulet, if that is any sense of like he just did a Bob Goulet like memorial show on a cruise ship in the last few years. Yeah. That's how classy he is.
I think we've got all right, everybody, we're starting a Patreon and the goal is Emily on the cruise with Chuck.
Emily's never going on a cruise.
All right.
It's gross. Cruises are gross.
So then we cut to, what was this about? So
that's my first cock block.
Yes, that is
scene.
the first.
That's the first cock block from Automan, which I think is funny, and yeah, he does play it kind of juvenile, like he doesn't know what's going on after having made out with half a dozen women now. He doesn't understand what's happening that he walks in on when they're licking each other's throats. But that'll come back too. There's another cock block scene in this.
There is. But then we have an update on the case.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but why was Automan just sitting around watching movies? If he wanted Automan to go away, couldn't he like hit a button and turn the computer off and have Automan get sucked back into the computer? If Roxanne was DTF and he's like, just a second, beep, shut off the computer, Automan goes away. Okay, update on the case.
The other thing is, we're never going to come back to Roxanne being DTF.
Mm-mm.
Not coming back this episode. Sorry, Wally. That's not how Wally's love life works. Like, once every 7 months, Roxanne's like finally feeling bad enough about herself that she's like, fuck Desi Arnaz Jr. Let's just get it over with. Jack is way too old for me. Continuing. So, yeah. So now we get the update on the case. And Kelly, the computer, is going to call Automan at Wally's and give him some information about this receipt still. And Automan says they're going to swoop down like the angel of death.
Yeah.
Because it's now decent people versus the criminal element.
Yeah.
So basically, Automan has watched the nasty Eddie franchise and become a fascist authoritarian.
Yes.
Completely missing out on the sort of nuance might be too much
of an exaggeration. Yeah.
But it's an oversimplification.
Yes, it's an oversimplification of Dirty Harry and
Dirty Harry, especially of this era Dirty Harry, because I don't think Sudden Impact, I guess, would have come out in 83. So maybe that would have been the closest. But anyway, so the fucking computer calls him and makes a noise and he talks to the computer and it's stupid. And I'm like, that's the problem with Automan is they never improved anything. Like they improved some of the characters. Jack and Roxanne got better, but they gave up on the captain because he was too much like clearly Jared S. O'Loughlin was not willing to sober up enough for more scenes. And like they never got better with the cases. They never did better stuff with the tech. Just weird shit. Okay. This almost was one of my top 3. They're going to go to this fancy restaurant to catch the bad guy. The fancy restaurant is called the Peacock's Lair, subtitle Restaurant on the Mezzanine. I'm like, and this was one of those other things that I was like, are they really on a budget? Because they're like filming underground.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, were they like, the airport was like, we've got this new parking structure and you can put a sign up for a day? Like,
yeah, I don't know. It looked really bad.
Yeah.
And the bad guy's there. Does he steal the old lady's
I
car?
think he steals the old lady's car. At first, I thought he was the old lady's husband, and
Yeah.
then it was still unclear. It's also like it's kind of unclear who they're tracking because, like, why are they chasing this hitman still? Because we've already met the two big bad guys.
Yeah.
Aren't they important? Well, yes, but no.
Yeah.
One of them gets a car chase, but not Frankie Pentangeli from The Godfather. He never comes back. So they have a long car chase.
Recycled, right?
It is recycled. Thank you. Thank you. It's recycled from the second or third episode where we were like, this is a terrible car chase.
And it's like the exact thing.
Yes.
They he'll never make that turn.
Nope, he'll never make that turn.
And he slams into a building. It's the exact
Cut
same
to new
thing.
footage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this is where Automan comes out and says, do the world a favor.
Yeah.
Resist arrest so I can beat you up.
Oh, God.
Okay. So then we cut to Jack getting yelled at by the DA.
Mm-hmm. So they've arrested in the interim. He gets into a car crash. They arrest him. They put him in jail. They release him because they don't have enough evidence to prosecute. So Jack is in
Captain's
office with the DA. Poor guy getting yelled at by Jack. Like, I just told this man's widow that I was going to get justice. Blah, blah. How are we going to do that if we set him free? And the DA's like, dude, if we don't have evidence to convict him, he's going to go free anyway. And then we won't be able to prosecute him again. So we need to collect more evidence. We need to nail this fucker. Stop being an asshole about it and just fucking move on. And, find the evidence and da-da-da-da. Except he gets taken off the case. Jack gets taken off the case.
Yes.
And he gets really mad and storms out of the room. Anything about the in-office scene?
He punches out the bad guy. They pull him off. The reporter sees everything.
And it was great. I loved Jack in his tough guy mode. Yeah, I loved it.
Getting nasty like Nasty Eddie. But not really.
No.
Not like they do have an analog here.
Yeah.
But they don't have an analog here. It's very. They would have had to need to have seen Dirty Harry movies.
That's my Jack off the handle Curtis, which I loved. I loved it. He lost his mind, and instead of punching the DA, thank goodness, he punched out the bad guy, so he can hone his anger into the right thing and take it out on the right person. That's good. Man, I loved that. Again, his shirt's unbuttoned, and he makes the guy bleed a little bit, which was great. The guy threatens to sue him, and then the next morning it's in the headlines that Captain Jack is out for blood.
But Wally's got an idea. Here's Wally's idea. Wally's going to use the computer to create a series of police blotter reports about vigilante murders of released accused murderers, to make it look like there is a vigilante out there killing people who get away with murder. The reason this is going to work to catch the bad guy, whose name we haven't mentioned, but is LeBlanc, is because the crime reporter is going to write about these while he's snooping around the police station. And then their bad guy's going to see it in the paper and get scared. The captain looks at Jack like, is this going to work? And then for a second, I felt like Robert Lansing wanted to be like, no, this is a really fucking stupid idea.
Yeah.
But then he's like, sure, yeah, it's worth a try. Then we cut to Wally writing these things. Just like DTF Roxanne never comes back, we also never get to see Wally's imagination change. So, Colonel Mustard in the observatory with the candlestick. Oh, wait, but what if it was the revolver? And then we see the candlestick turn into the revolver. Like, it's so silly in a way that they could have leaned into more.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if Automan had come in 1986 or 1987, there might have been more like 80s TV in existence for them to learn from.
Yeah.
But like, if this were Charming, it conceivably could be charming with the right cast and the right handle, not with Desi Arnaz Jr., not with the way they do it. One other thing I liked was one of the murderers is from Medford, Oregon.
Yeah.
Which is near where I went to college.
Oh.
But also amusing will later be that, okay, we'll talk, we got to talk about the Portland angle that makes no sense.
Yes. Please.
So then the reporter interviews the captain, and the captain says something about coming in, or like, where's Lieutenant Jack or something? And he's out, he's not the vigilante, but I come into this powder keg of anarchy and violence every day.
Oh, that's the reporter comes in and is like, do you have any comment about this story? And that's when he goes on this weird, he seems to only have like really earnest, angry speeches about being a cop and how hard it is and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, ugh, gross.
It'd be so much easier if we could just put everybody we don't like in a camp and tattoo a number on their... Wait, what? What did I say? I can't say that in 1983. Let me wait 30 years, and then I'm going to be president. Okay. Ugh. So then we cut to a fashion show for swimsuits,
where we see more bikini ladies.
And Karma Chameleon cover playing in the background.
What a travesty. What a great song.
And really now Otto is undercover as Agent Otto, Otto, Mann, Mann.
And he looks very conspicuous standing in the back with a suit on and his sunglasses in a dark room. Way to go.
So he's going to come to the rescue when the bad guys again confront the surviving fashion company owner lady.
Yeah.
And he punches them out, throwing them against the walls and things like that. And they shoot at him, but bullets have no effect.
That was cool. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, we've seen it before, but it was so close range.
So my two notes went from auto-fascist to horny ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are enthralled.
Hey, who wouldn't be?
And so they walk out, and the bikini model's like hanging on him, and oh, Otto, man, I bet there's nothing you're afraid of. And he's like, there's only one thing I'm afraid of: a power failure. And she's like, you'll never be afraid of the dark with me, Automan. And they get to kissing, but then comes in
another cock block.
Wally.
And Wally is notorious through this for being a cock block. So I'm glad that Automan got his comeuppance, or got to, no, I'm sorry. I'm glad Wally got his comeuppance by getting cock blocked by Otto. But this was just an unnecessary smoochy situation. And it was like, get the fuck over here. We need to get to work. We need to do some fucking work. And I've seen Dirty Harry, the first movie. I don't remember there being a lot of smooching. Was there a lot of smooching in that?
Not in the first one, because he's a widow.
Okay.
He's a sad widow. In the second one, there's a great scene where because in the 70s, Clint Eastwood fathered 5 kids, he admits, and probably another 32 that he doesn't. And there's just this scene where he gets home, Dirty Harry gets home from work or something, and his neighbor's like, his little hippie sexy neighbor girl's like, and she's like really short too, because Clint Eastwood's 6'3" or whatever, and she's like got to be like 4'9". She's like, hey, officer man, if some lady wanted to meet you some night, how would she go about doing that? And he's like, you could try knocking on my door.
That's not Mitchell. But
Dirty Harry's got like there, and then is it the second one or maybe the third one, there's like a shockingly like not bad, like not gay joke exactly, but like they're like, hey, Dirty Harry, are you gay? And he's like, I don't know, I'd be doing well if I was, or something like that. Like it's Clint Eastwood's such a fucking disappointment, but whatever. All white men are disappointments at one time or another.
But it seemed very out of character. Like he goes from being this real tough guy, blah, 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 to then like having this lady
I
sprayed
don't
himself all
even
over.
know. I mean, maybe in some of the like really low budgety things you'd have that. But like Chuck Norris is a born again Christian. Ladies weren't like smooching on him, and he was the biggest sort of fascist action star. Like Stallone, I don't
Charles
know.
Charles Bronson.
Bronson didn't do it. So it's just like, yeah, it's just this weird, not actual
It's like he's trying
trope.
to pull a 007 again. It's like he's mixing the two up, but only like it's like I'm going to be a bad cop and then I'm going to have babes all over me. Like it's
Right. And but even 007 rarely is it just like flat up just a bikini models like let's go in back right now, Automan, and my
yeah.
boss wants to come watch. Like I was actually hoping for there to be like a delay when they came back out and they were like, well, thanks, Agent Man, for that hot coffee or something. Just like, but anyway, so now Wally's like, uh-oh, we've got to do the reporter thinks Jack is the vigilante.
Yeah.
Who could have thought that might happen after he watched him punch out this guy? And then we planted these news stories. And then they're like, let's change it over to make Automan the suspect.
Yeah.
And we're going to introduce a backstory for him where his name is Mad Dog. So my notes for that are Mad Dog Otto, O-T-T-O. But then I was like, no, because his name's Agent Automan. So it'd be Mad Dog Man.
Mad Dog Man. Yeah.
Is his dirty hairy name. And this is where he talks about seeing all 5 Nasty Eddie pictures, even though at this point there had only been 4 Dirty Harry movies. And then he makes himself a 44 Magnum with a reflective strip on top that occasionally catches the light, so it looks like an auto gun.
Mm-hmm.
There are sadly no compensation jokes about the gun, which would have been fun. But then let's see, is this the two? Yes, okay. We cut back over to not Robert Englund and his lackeys, and they're talking about how they've got to get this fucking deal thing because otherwise Ambrose, who never comes back either, is going to kill him.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what about this vigilante boss? And he's like, well, who gives a shit if LeBlanc gets killed? And they're like, well, what if he sings? And he's like, yeah, who gives a shit? Well, we need to take care of this lady, though. There's only one man I could trust. LeBlanc.
Yeah. I thought that was weird too.
What the fuck?
Yeah. All very, very poorly written.
So Automan's one of those shows where you realize that actors might have memorization skills, but not critical thinking ones, because otherwise they'd just be like, what the fuck did I just say?
Yeah.
So then the lady boss comes home with a ride home from the cops.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'll be fine from here. Go away, officer. She starts walking up to her house, and there's a cat in trouble. There's a yowl in the background, which I thought was bad. And I don't remember if we see her get grabbed, but we know something bad's coming.
Yeah.
To which we then cut to Automan zooming around town. And I was like, is he on his way to save her? How do they know? Nope, they're just zooming around. And Automan has become the 5 Nasty Eddie movies have turned Automan into everybody's racist uncle on Thanksgiving, which is weird because at some point that racist uncle is also somebody's father. I'll just point that out. Mm-hmm. And it's weird that nobody ever talks about it being the father or the brother. It's always the uncle who you seemingly don't have to do anything
everybody
about.
wants to like separate themselves as much as they can from it. So
and never deal with it.
And never have to deal with it. Yeah. So Automan has kind of taken on this persona of Nasty Eddie, and they're having a conversation in the car, and he says something real wild, and Wally's like, you can cut out the shtick. It's just you and me now. We don't have to do this anymore. To which I say, next episode's the last episode. I'm hoping, and I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm okay because Automan has disappointed me multiple times. I'm hoping for a heel turn, and Automan becomes some rogue, Nasty Eddie, Dirty Harry knockoff, and Roxanne has to decommission him and win the love of Wally by doing so. That's what I'm hoping for. But it has to be Roxanne who does it for love. Maybe he takes Wally hostage. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping
Okay.
for. A heel
Okay.
turn. Heel turn. Heel turn. Heel turn. Heel turn.
Okay. So then where do they go? Do they go to Rafferty's? Yes. They go to Rafferty's to threaten him, basically. And Automan yeah, this is basically it, right? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I
Automan
don't even have any more notes. I can barely remember what happened. They're in a big
Automan
house.
pulls out his gun and is like, "You're gonna fucking confess." Oh, right. They grab the other guy. That's right. They grab the guy they were going to install
Mm-hmm.
at. Okay, we got ahead of ourselves with this really good sequence here.
Okay.
So they don't actually know about They don't have Rafferty's address yet. I think they have his name, but they can't find his address because Automan made a racist joke to one of the other computers now because he's fucking fascist, and the other computers didn't help him, so they couldn't do a simple phone lookup. Instead, they discovered where the bad guy who was going to take over the fashion company lays his bets. Which bookie in a newsstand he lays his bets with.
Right. That's
So
right.
they roll up on this dude. They get out. Automan's got his gun out, and he's like, "Come with me." And the guy's like, "No." And so he shoots the bookie guy in the tummy. Guy falls down, and they're like, "You better take us to Rafferty." And start driving away. And then we see Cursor come out of the guy's tummy, and all the blood go away, and the guy recovers consciousness, which means Cursor can not just create holographic representations that can interact, like that are touch solid. He can also do them with enough force as to knock someone down and out.
Yeah.
Which would be a good power to have starting in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
And this show would have made more sense as episode 2.
Yeah.
Even with Automan's character arc in particular. So then there's a lot of time killer in this, because then they have to argue with the bad guy about taking him to Rafferty's.
Mm-hmm.
And so Chuck Wagner's like, we're doing this by my rules. And so this is when they go to fake Robert Englund's. This is where the hitman shows up with the kidnapped business owner, and then there's like somebody pulls a gun and Wally punches somebody out, but he doesn't do kung fu because we've lost kung fu Wally. It's one of the other things Automan's taken from us. But basically, fake Robert Englund grabs the business owner as a hostage, and they zoom away.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, instead of Automan phasing in and out of existence, which he can do, and getting ahead of the guy, they have to run outside and make the auto car. They zoom after him. They lose sight of him. And Automan's like, "Shit, we've lost sight of him. What can we do?" Well, maybe we need a bird's eye view, Automan. So up and away, it's Auto Chopper.
Yes. I liked that transition. I mean, it was just dark enough that they clearly were
right.
Whatever. But it was kind of fun. We've seen it before, but I still like it.
What can a hologram do to stop the car? Put a fucking Gatling gun on the car, or on the on the helicopter actually, and shoot at the car as it drives. So they just shoot at the car for 3 minutes until it finally crashes, and then they save the girl, who embraces Wally a little much more than Roxanne might like. And Automan, and they arrest the bad guy. And so then at the police station afterwards, a couple things here. Everybody's now afraid of Automan, as in FBI agent Automan. The reporter decides there's something up with this dude, and he's going to figure it out. There's something more to you than meets the eye, which is very much like Incredible Hulk, the investigative reporter who's trying to find and that's like, I think, technically, a riff on The Fugitive, which had the same guy chasing him throughout the thing. And I was like, are they introducing a recurring character in the second to last episode? Then Lieutenant Jack is going to take Wally to buy a beer, though.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You want to come with us, Automan?" And I was like, "That's cool. That'd be a cool thing if Automan went to buy the beer." And he said, "No,
Mm-hmm.
Automan can't stop until the streets are safe."
Well,
To
this is
which
where
my
I'm
note,
heel turn, baby.
next
Oh,
episode's all about a killer Automan out on the streets, and Wally needs to shut him down.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. What is the next episode about? I can't even be bothered because it's not gonna be that.
It's called The 32-Year-Old Virgin. It's about Wally losing his virginity.
No, it's called Club 10. Walter, Automan, and Roxanne travel to an exclusive Caribbean resort. Roxanne gets a panic message from her missing writer friend, and they find they're all caught up in a diamond smuggling racket. So I fear that they had this whole thing written out. There's no in the show there's no like it's not going to be wrapped up. The story's not going to be like, "Oh, and Automan is now decommissioned." I doubt. I mean, maybe. Doesn't seem to be aware that it's canceled, right? They're just going to end it, I think.
It does not seem like they didn't realize they were getting the back nine.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, this is basically the end of Desi Arnaz Jr.'s acting career. He stopped after this, save a cameo in Matlock, and then playing his dad in something. And then doing looks like a favor for a friend in a kid's movie. So, my thought for the remake, tell me if this is too much, because you can have your Lee Pace.
Yes.
Okay. Wally. I think we need to get a little meta with new Wally.
Okay.
His mom is the computer genius who's done the hologram, but she lets Wally think it's him. There's a Roxanne, but she is a hologram. The mom is programmed to pretend to be interested in him romantically.
Okay. So it's like a little bit weird science, but the mom
It's
is
a
involved.
little bit
Yeah.
weird science, but
Okay.
the mom's Helen Mirren can be in it or somebody. I don't know. Somebody like that, you know.
Maybe Anne Heche. Oh.
Wow. 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 2 hours and we've already got the dead end Hayes jokes. Wow.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
It's not funny. What a terrible thing. What a
Terrible thing. But still, you could cut this out. But getting coked up and driving through a house and dying is still better than being Ellen DeGeneres. So, you know.
Ooh, I'll keep that in.
There you go. There you go.
I'll keep that in.
All right. So, yeah, next time, wrapping up Automan and, of course, an announcement of next season of Onesies topic.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out what it is.
I am too.
Okay, well, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Drive safe, everyone. And if you're going to do cocaine, stay home.
Pretty solid advice. I can't figure out how to stop recording. There I can.